Hub. I'm Steven.
And I'm Angel.
Welcome to the Hub, Angel.
Thank you very much, Steve.
So we want to give a little bit of introduction for yourself because you are the ace.
Oh, okay. So been with Autodesk now for about 9 years. My primary focus has been the civil engineering community and civil engineering software. We refer to it as infrastructure. Prior to the 9 years with Autodesk, I was with an Autodesk partner for 9 years where I trained, provided technical support, etc. And then prior to that, I worked for 14 years in Southern California for a couple of civil engineering companies. So I've always been involved with the civil engineering software and did projects, etc.
Quite some time.
Yeah, I don't even want to know how much.
I was trying to write the numbers down, but it crashed. Can't help you there. You and I have been working very closely over the last year, and it's been awesome getting myself back into this whole civil aspect. And Infraworks. That's why we're here, and that's what we're talking about today. Can you give me a little bit of a better insight of exactly what Infraworks is?
Okay, let's start with Infraworks 360 is the official name, and it has evolved a little bit over time. Originally, I think the message, if people heard it early on, it was considered to be this environment to create conceptual anything, conceptual design, conceptual charrettes, where we can create what might be in the environment of what actually is.
That's pretty awesome.
So it gives us the opportunity to build just about anything in a very realistic environment, including shadow and sun and water and sky and all kinds of things like that. I can show you some examples, and
yeah, let's take a look.
Ultimately, it has evolved since then. So just on the screen here, I have some examples that include both downtown urban areas, some rural areas. They could be for above-ground transmission utilities, below-ground utilities. Just covers just about any sorts of project. Earlier today, we are here in Denver, so
that is where the hub is.
We were able to create a model, and not everyone's familiar with what we refer to as Model Builder. I'm going to go back to this is the result of Model Builder. So here with Model Builder, we can basically identify anywhere on the planet and then have it automatically put together for us a model. This happens to be rather small, but it includes things like this terrain, the alignments for roads, and this even includes sidewalks, etc., and some buildings, maybe water features.
Yeah.
And to this, very quick and easy, I just selected the area, and it puts this together for me in the cloud, and I download it. I don't have to do much to start, so I don't have to have anything to start with.
Again, it's that 360 term that so many of the other products have that's really denotes a cloud-based software.
Yeah, so in this case, the 360 absolutely means I'm going to interact with the cloud. Sometimes people are a little bit mistaken in thinking that this runs in the cloud. It's not the case. It runs locally, but it touches the cloud as often as I want it to touch the cloud, doing some lots of things that are possible with the cloud. Some people are a little turned off by the potential of the cloud and say,
what is the cloud?
We don't want to use the cloud. That's also possible.
Yeah.
They don't have to interact with the cloud if they don't want to. But certainly there's lots of ways that we can benefit from that. And another, so once we have this environment, which included roads and some of the buildings, etc., and we could potentially replace some of the objects or add to this environment. If I wanted to place cars, there's an entire library here of 3D modeled objects straight out of the box. So over here, if we look at the vehicles, there's quite a number of vehicles and construction equipment and city equipment. In this case, what I've done is I've gone ahead and added to this environment one building that was the Denver Art Museum. Someone built a more realistic version of this. So I'm going to go ahead and place in that as a 3D object, the Denver, and it's now part of this palette. And I'm just going to place it anywhere for the moment. I'm going to place it over here off to the side of the building that came in for free, which is the building footprint. And there we have then this 3D representation of the more accurate building. Now what I'm going to do is just go ahead and, just for the sake of speed here, just kind of very quickly move it over to where it actually exists, and even get rid of the original building that's down there that came in for free. And then we can see that along the street here, which if I hover on it for just a moment, it tells me what street that is. That's West 13th Avenue here in Denver.
Just a couple blocks from the office.
And you can see then that there is a pedestrian overcrossing of the street. and the entire building can be placed in. So if I wanted to have something more realistic, add to it trees, cars, people moving, people in the environment, whatever the case is, we can absolutely create that environment and depict it either in day or night or whatever we want to analyze it.
This is amazing. Being looking at an architect who designs their own building and whatever program so the Denver Art Museum, whatever it came out of, whether it's Revit or another authoring software, it just has to come out in a file format you can drop in. And when you do that, now you have that mass model.
Absolutely correct. So what we can do is they have things that are called proposals, and I can say, well, let's say alternative Alt-01. With alternative 01, maybe we want to add or build something on this particular current parking lot. So someone buys it, we're going to remove it. I can place asphalt, or I can make it a park and do whatever I wish. I'll just create some sort of environment here really quickly. For the moment, it's going to be yellow, just to help us understand the location of this property. And then within that property, I can decide, well, what are we going to place there? Do we want there to be a building, another building? I can decide to drop in various types of buildings here. I'll quickly create a shape. And is that building going to be a tall building? Is it going to be a short building? Is that going to be with the styles that are straight out of the box? Is it going to be ultimately a condominium? I can drag a style on there, and then I can have this condominium placed there. I can reposition it to another part of the lot. I can reorient it, do whatever it is I wish to represent this, and you can see the shadows and everything about that's happening. And then ultimately, if I wanted to have material and represent that in a more realistic way, I can say, well, that's going to be dark asphalt or light asphalt or concrete or tile, and have then a very realistic appearance of what our vision is for this property. Now I can create an alternative 2, which could have maybe a shopping center, or alternative 3 that's something else entirely. So it gives us this environment where we can very quickly create, both conceptually and design,
That's awesome.
actual objects.
That's awesome. Well, there's so much more that we have to discuss. We are running out of a little time today, but one of the biggest things, and a little teaser, I guess, for the next time, is some point clouds and some reality capture that can get put into this. Because if you're able to take conceptual design in, I can imagine that it's just equally as powerful when you bring in what is actually existing.
Absolutely. So LiDAR data and point clouds created from photography, to be able to
Awesome.
capture things very quickly and easily and drop it into this environment, something to look forward to.
Fantastic. Well, thanks. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Any comments, concerns, suggestions, let us know. We'll catch you next time.
Take care.